Family, you know what I realize? The biggest project that you will ever work on is you. The biggest room in the world is the room for improvement. No, it's not you against the world or you against anybody else. It's just you versus you. I want us to have a candid conversation about what it takes to be your best and beat your best. Oh, I'm mic'd up. Join me and let's mix it up. What's good people? How you doing? How you living? How's it going? What's happening? I hope you're doing well. I hope you're having a great day in a great way. Please hit the thumbs up button on this video. Come on, hit the thumbs up button on this video. Hit the subscribe button while you're at it as well. We're going to have a courageous conversation of illumination. Speaking of that, drop some light bulbs in the chat. Come on, drop some light bulbs in the chat. Let's light it up. Let's flip it up. Let's turn it up. Too lit to quit. Stay lit. We are the light of the world. And we're going to spotlight this particular subject today called The Best Man. Now, I'm not talking about the movie. I'm talking about you playing a starring role in your own movie. The Best Man. How to be your best and beat your best. That's what it's about. In order to do any of that, it takes real commitment. It takes real character development. It takes you heeding to the calling that you're hearing that is on your life. That's what it takes. For you to do any of that, for you to be your best, for you to beat your best, it is you honing in on not only your weaknesses, but also your strengths. I need to focus on my focus. I need to make sure that each and every single day I am doing what it takes to be better today than I was yesterday, so that by the time I lay my head on my pillow at night, I can say, I grew in this particular area. I'm a little bit better today than I was yesterday. I've grown in this particular area. I've developed in this particular area. I have actually begun to take accountability for what it is that I'm experiencing internally, what it is that I can control externally. It speaks to that aspect of not just being good, but also being godly. It is understanding that I have to have an idea, I have to have a vision, I have to have an identity that is not steeped in money, but is steeped in integrity. My identity can't come from cars and clothes and shoes and shirts and followers. Here's what it is. Am I a follower of Christ? How does my life indicate that I am? Are y'all following me? Family, just type do your best. Go on, do your best. Do your best. And let me add some clarity to doing your best. A lot of times we believe just do your best means give the bare minimum effort. Do as little and try to get as much as you possibly can. No, but to whom much is given, much is required. Do your best means, let me just do a little bit above my worst for many of us. Scripture says this, 1 Peter chapter 2, verse 9, you are a chosen generation, you are a royal priesthood, you are a holy nation, a peculiar people. Show for the praises of him who have called you out of righteousness, who have called you out of darkness into his marvelous light. Called you out of darkness, basically into righteousness. And here's the thing about being the best man. It is the fact that I'm not just one of my groom's homeboys. I'm not just the groom's homeboy at the wedding. Being the best man is not so much about you being able to conquer somebody, you being able to dominate somebody. Being the best man is not being in a suit and in a tuxedo and being G'd up from the feet up. No, being the best man means, what am I doing to hold myself accountable? Because there is no respectability without responsibility. And here's the thing, men of God carry a very powerful presence. They carry a very powerful presence within the earth realm. Which is why many women will fall in love with a man's potential, because they see the greatness down on the inside of him that he may not even be able to see, much less have come into the realization regarding. And here, my brother, potential isn't good enough. Here's what potential has to become. Potential has to become kinetic energy. Potential is resourced energy that is internal, that has not been manifested yet. Kinetic is, this is what is on the move. This is what I am doing to better my life. This is what I'm doing to better the lives of those of the individuals who are around me and who surround me. Let me make my potential kinetic. And here's the thing, in order for it to be kinetic, I got to connect to what it is that God has given me. What am I doing to connect to the purpose? What am I doing to connect to growth? What am I doing to connect to my vision? What am I doing to connect? So that, here it is, my direction is in my connection. Oftentimes, our potentiality never becomes kinetic energy because we have yet to discover our own identity. Let me say it twice because it's so nice. Our potentiality has yet to become kinetic energy simply because we have not discovered our identity. Identity speaks to the aspect that you are a gift internally. You are a gift all by yourself. You have a treasure within another vessel. There is a gift in being you. There's a gift in your uniqueness, and your uniqueness differentiates you to move you into an aspect, into an altitude, into a realm of greatness. It is something that you have that everybody else doesn't have, that the world needs, and the world needs you to show up with, because when you step into your authenticity, into your genuine aspect, into your identity, now the world can be who it needs to be. Why? Because you had the courage to be who God created you to be. Family, just type courage. Courage. Knowing your identity is the key ingredient to being an effective leader. Especially when it comes to you facing heavy expectations. Whether it's placed on you by the woman who you're with, whether it's placed on you by your children, whether it's placed on you by those individuals who are looking up to you, whether it's placed on you by society as a whole. What is driving me? Society wants you to focus on what you're driving. But no. Here's what I want you to do. I want you to focus on what is driving you. Come on, family. Just type, I'm driven. Come on, type, I'm driven. I'm driven to make a change. I'm driven to be my best. Driven to not settle for less. Family, type ideas versus identity. Let's tackle number one. Type ideas versus identity. Ideas versus identity. Anybody can try to be a better man, but what are you doing to be the best man that you can possibly be? Shout out to all the members who are in the chat. As a matter of fact, because this is a channel for change, this is a channel that creates change, this is a channel that breaks chains. And of course, I love seeing your badges that are in the chat here. That's why it's so colorful in here. And hear me, if you don't have a membership badge, go get one. Yeah, you don't have a badge as a member, go ahead and get one now. Yeah, go get one. Link is in the chat. Getting a membership badge now puts you in the place to where you have access to Connor's Corner content. I want you to get access to all of that information. I don't necessarily put it right here on YouTube. It's only for members. Information I don't share on my social media. It's for members only. Membership has its privileges. You can unlock VIP, royalty, OQP, exclusive behind the scenes content, exclusive footage, members only discounts, so much more. Tap the join now button. Get exclusive access by tapping the join button on this YouTube channel. Family, hit the thumbs up button on this video. Talking about, let's look at it. Ideas versus identity. A good man is driven by his ideas. He's trying to provide, he's trying to support, he's trying to feel confident in what he is doing, whether it be at work, whether it be at church, whether it be in the community. However, the ideas that he has tends to lead him in different directions. He can be led astray by certain women. He can be led astray by jobs. He can be led astray by financial goals. He can be led astray due to peer pressure. Good man's got a lot of ambitions, looking for greater avenues for where he can tap into his greatest potential. However, a godly man is not just driven by ideas, he's driven by his identity. Every good idea is not a God idea. And here's the thing, does the idea connect to the identity within me that is God-driven? A godly man is driven by his identity. How do I know he's driven by his identity? Simply because he's identified his purpose in life. So as a result, what does he do? He stays strong. He stays focused on the path to which God has called him. He stays focused on his mission. He's a mission-minded man. Come on, family, type that. Mission-minded man. He's a mission-minded man because he understands that he has a mantle on his life. Man means to manage. Man means to maintain. Man means to manifest. Man means to use God's manual to make your life work. Man means that I have a mantle on my life. I have an assignment. I have a marketplace mandate. A godly man who is driven not just by ideas, but by his identity, has identified. You know what identity really speaks to? Identity speaks to the fact of what it is that I have identified. What have I identified that I'm supposed to do? Who have I identified that I'm supposed to help? Come on now. A lot of you haven't identified your gifts. A lot of you haven't identified your goals. A lot of you haven't identified your calling. A lot of you haven't identified your purpose. And so what are you doing now? You're just wandering all around, trying to catch a wave, trying to catch a blessing versus being a blessing. Trying to get somebody to hook you up versus you hooking yourself up. My identity speaks to what it is that I have identified. There is something that you have survived. There's something that you have thrived as a result of surviving. There's something that you have done. There's something that you have a particular genius and a blueprint and some amazing ideas as a result of. But here's what you're doing. You're holding out on it because you don't think that somebody's going to support you. You don't think you're good enough. You're allowing emotional snipers to disrupt your equilibrium. You are allowing imposter syndrome to impose on your life. That's why I'm talking about identity. I'm talking about identity. Not just talking about ideas. People can give you a whole lot of ideas that don't speak to your identity. You can get a whole lot of ideas that don't connect to your identity. Identity speaks to what it is that I have identified. Family, type identify. Identify your purpose. Identify what it is that you were called and created to do. Identify your uniqueness. You're too unique to compete. You're too rare to compare. Your royalty demands loyalty. You got to be the best man. You got to be the best woman. You got to be your best. You got to beat your best. And you can never beat your best trying to be somebody else. Never beat your best by settling for somebody else. By settling for less than what it is that God orchestrated you to have. Often imitated, never duplicated. Nobody can beat you being you. Are you hearing me too? A godly man is one who is driven not by money, not driven by notoriety, not driven by fame and acclaim, not driven by addiction, not driven by his hurt and his pain, not driven by his war wounds, not driven by trying to compete with anybody else. He is driven by his identity. And here's the thing, because he knows his identity, he can identify his purpose in life. He can identify God's ordained, unique, complete purpose for his life. So this is what he does. He stays strong and he stays focused on the path to what God has called him to do. Gonna be a lot of distractions. Gonna be a lot of people trying to pull him to the left, pull him to the right, pull him this way, pull him that way. Gonna be a lot of people who lack emotional intelligence, who are trying to get him off course and push him off center. But no. This is what this man is. This best man is steadfast. Oh, I love this word coming up that I'm about to say. Family, just type HTA. This man is steadfast, unmovable. You can't move me. Why? Because I'm like a tree planted by the rivers of living water. Yeah, I'm rooted too deep for you to try to make me feel incomplete. Oh, I like that. Let me say that twice because oh, so nice. I'm rooted too deep for you to try to make me feel incomplete. My roots run too deep for you to bring your shallow attitude over here. No. Go on somewhere with that. Not happening over here. When I know my identity, I can identify. When I know my identity, when I know my identity, I also understand here that the greatest enemy is the inner me. When I know my identity, my roots run deep. So I can soar above every enemy. When a godly man knows his identity, he becomes a leader. He is not easily swayed. He is not easily led astray. What does he do? He sets a pathway. He's not easily led astray. He creates a pathway for his children, for his wife, for his future legacy to follow, for his mentees. Simply because a godly man has vision and he runs his race with endurance. Family, just type run your race. The race is not given to the swift. The race is not given to the strong. It's not to the fastest. It's not to the strongest, but it's to the one who endures to the end. I want to ask you, family, Do you have any endurance? Oh yeah, you always know how to show up for the sprint. But when it's the marathon, you're gassed. You're fatigued. You don't have any long distance leadership. You don't have any long distance love. It's only short term. I've got to be able to run the long distance race at my pace with God's grace, walking in the power of my identity. Family, type endurance. Type endurance. Type endurance. Type endurance. In the midst of this special message, I want to give you a special message. Yeah, in the midst of this special message, I've got a special message for you. I want you to stick and stay. More is on the way. There's more breakthrough on the other side of this break. After these messages, I will be right back. Family, listen and lean in. Don't you think it's time to grow your greatness? No, seriously, it's just us talking. If you intend to soar, you need to visit theeaglesacademy.com/store. Why? Because I want you to join my mailing list. I want you to get all the solutions, the strategies, and the systems to write that best-selling book. You know it's in you. You know it's your time. Time to cultivate your communication skills. Develop, learn the art of communication. So much more. Visit theeaglesacademy.com/store so you can soar. What's going on, family? We are back. Yes, y'all, and we don't stop. I want you to heed to those resources that you heard. You know it. Let's get back to the word. We're talking about the best man. How to be your best and beat your best. I remember that movie, The Best Man. And I remember the soundtrack song, the staple soundtrack song. I think it was with Tyrese and RL and Genuine, if I'm not mistaken. Real genuine song. What can a brother do for me? He can help me be the best man I can be. Yeah. And that's what the brother should do in your life, my brother. Because here's what it is. That's the practical. But it connects to the spiritual. And the spiritual aspect is this. Iron sharpens iron. So a man sharpeneth the countenance of his friend. That's what a brother can do for me. Am I around people who sharpen me or dull me? Do I have some iron men in my life who sharpen me? Do I got some iron or some plastic, folks? Too many of us have plastic people in our lives. They're fake. They keep you dull. They diminish you. They got you depressed. They're not really real. They're not authentic. They're not genuine. Iron-clad type of individuals are willing to accept the challenge. Plastic people desire comfort. Family, just type this: accept the challenge. Accept the challenge. I gave you number one. I'm talking about ideas versus identity. Now let's go into comfort versus challenge. Comfort versus challenge. Plastic people, they just want comfort. I want it to be the easiest, painless way possible. Ironclad type of individuals understand is that challenges create champions. They are willing to accept the challenge. Story goes in scripture that the disciples were in a boat. And the waves were raging, the winds were blowing. the seas were rumbling and roaring. And all of a sudden, the disciples look out onto the water, and what they thought was a ghost was really Jesus. If it was a ghost at all, it was a Holy Ghost. Jesus said, listen, have no fear. It is I. Have no fear. I'm here. Take courage. It is I. Don't be afraid. Peter said, Lord, are you sure it's you? If it's you, Lord, tell me to come on out to the water. Take me to the water. Jesus said to Peter, come. Peter got out that boat. I'm sure it was some disciples calling Peter crazy. You got to be insane. What in the world are you doing? Ain't no man ever walked on no water. Jesus walking on the water. And Peter got on out the boat, walked on the water. And I'd like to believe that Peter didn't just walk on the water. He walked on the word that Jesus gave him. And that was, come on. But here's what Peter did. Only two people who ever walked on the water is Jesus and it's Peter. Peter, as he's walking on the water, he starts looking around. That's why Scripture says, looking unto Jesus, the author and the finisher of our faith, because there's so many things that are around us and that surround us that can get us distracted, just like Peter got distracted. He saw the wind. He saw the waves. He heard the rumbling and the roaring of the tempest and the winds, and he got afraid. So much so that he began to sink. How many times? Rather than soaring, we're sinking. Sinking in thoughts of the past, sinking in the thoughts of other people's opinions that become your prison, sinking because of emotional snipers, sinking because of imposter syndrome, sinking because you think everybody else is more special than you and so you're not willing to do anything for yourself, sinking into excuses versus moving into the place of execution, sinking into not being the best man, but thinking about how you are the worst man. He saw the best in me when everybody else could only see the worst. What are you looking at? And here's the thing, not so much what are you looking at? Where are you looking? Where are you looking at? Yeah, that's what I want to ask you. Where are you looking? Where your focus goes, your energy flows. And so here it is. Peter's focus went to the winds of worry, and that's where his energy went. And where his energy went is where he began to sink. And as he's beginning to sink, he's crying out, Lord, save me. Here's one thing that is remarkable, and I would that you try this. For those of you who can swim, disclaimer, please. I want nobody hurting themselves. Those of you who can swim, those of you who can actually jump into the deep end, you ain't worried about your hair getting wet. Mm-hmm. Put your little swimming cap on in. But those of you who can actually jump into the deep end of a pool, I'm not telling you to do this in the ocean now. Swimming pool, your local YMCA, whatever it is. Jump into the pool. I'm talking about 2 feet deep either. And if you can navigate yourself back up after jump, then yeah, I want you to try this. I want you to try to jump into the deep end at least 8 feet. Ain't nobody 8 feet walking around here that I know. Shaq ain't even 8 feet. That Victor Wembanyama kid in San Antonio with the Spurs, he not even 8 feet. All right? So I want you to jump in some water, 8 feet of water in a swimming pool or something like that, and just holler out, Lord, save me. I guarantee you can't get it out. You can't get it out before you already submerged underwater. Here's what it is. How is Peter sinking? Crying out, Lord, save me. It's as if Jesus slows the sink down. Yeah. He slowed the sink down in the midst of Peter sinking. In the case of his stinking thinking. Isn't it interesting? When you would have had a precipitous fall, 0 to 100 real quick, God slowed the pace to where you didn't feel it, and he was able to save you in the midst of it. I'm grateful. What does that song say? Love lifted me when nothing else could help. Love lifted me. All of us as men, we are called to greatness. Women, yes, you're called to greatness. We're called to reflect. We are called because we are created in God's image. However, many of us never accept the call of God that is placed on our life. We just sink and stinking thinking, keeping on in the place to where we're sulking. And this is what every man must make a decision to do. He must make a decision to get to his destiny by any means necessary. He must make a decision to walk in the direction of his destiny, of his dreams, of his fulfillment, of his calling. I want to ask you, my brother, how do you respond to the winds of life? How do you respond to the storms? How do you respond to the rain? New Edition asked a question that still reverberates to this day, and that is, can you stand the rain? My dear sister from another mister, how does the man in your life respond to the winds of life? Is he blown away? Or is he like a tree planted by the rivers of living water? Can he win through the wind? Come on, family, type win. Win. When will you win? Time to win. Because here's the thing, a good man is comfortable. Talking about comfort versus challenge. Good man is comfortable. He's comfortable with where he is. He's comfortable with not even seeking out another challenge. He can get comfortable with operating out of his head. He can get comfortable with the same job. He can get comfortable with his dating routine and his daily habits, not fulfilling his vision or his dreams. He can get comfortable playing that video game. He can get comfortable, not necessarily because he is lazy, but because he has gotten lost in all that is required of him. So here's what it is. It is easier to become complacent. And here's what we got to realize about complacency. When you get complacent, you get replaced. Because now here's what happens. Entertainment and pleasure becomes escapism. I get comfortable saying, all right, well, it's good I see how this person is succeeding. I see how that person is successful. It's good for them. They must be more special than me. They must have been born that way. No, you have to cultivate yourself in that particular way. Good man is comfortable. A godly man is going to accept challenges. He's going to seek out challenges as well. What do I mean by that? This godly man, this best man, is not moved by societal perceptions and expectations. But here's what he does. He accepts the challenge to step up in his own life. He accepts the challenge to be the best husband. He accepts the challenge to be the best father. He accepts the challenge to be the best teacher. He accepts the challenge to be the best provider. He accepts the challenge to accept responsibility and accountability, because he knows that God has called him to be a godly man who has a mission, a godly man with a vision, a godly man who affirms his identity, a godly man who walks by faith with the right woman who will support him. He's got discernment to know the difference between the right one and the wrong one. He's got discernment to know the difference between a woman who is an opportunist and one who will help him to maximize opportunity. He welcomes the challenge to build with her. He welcomes the challenge to maximize and manifest the mission and the vision together. Why? Because he knows that he's a moving by himself, but he's a force. When y'all are together, you make him better. Godly man doesn't limit his challenges. Here's what he does. He challenges his limits. Let me say that again. A godly man does not limit his challenges. He challenges his limits. I want to talk to that man who's only settling for good when you know that greatness is on the inside of you. I want to talk to that man when you really have all the qualities and the characteristics and the properties of what it takes to be a godly man, but you can't do it of your own volition. You can't do it of your own skill. It's got to be according to his will. It's got to be not my will, but thy will be done. I want to talk to that man to where it feels as if the weight of the world is on your shoulders. Heavy is the head that wears the crown. And here's the thing. The heaviness that is on your head, that may even be over your head, that is within your head, is affecting your mental health. So you'd rather party it away. You'd rather video game it away. You'd rather numb the pain of it away. You'd rather do everything else versus address and deal with what it is that you are dealing with. Because if you don't deal with what you're dealing with, hear me, what you're dealing with will deal with you. Let me say that again. If you don't deal with what you're dealing with, what you're dealing with will deal with you. Am I getting the counseling and the therapy to deal with what it is? Am I surrounding myself with other mentors to where I realize this? In the multitude of counselors, there is safety. My dear sister from another mister, are you creating a safe space in place for that man to be vulnerable enough to where you don't see him as anything less than a man because he may be dealing with certain things? Because here it is, he allowed you to see him take off the cape to be Clark Kent, not just Superman. And this is what we need to do. These are things that we need to normalize for us as men. We need to normalize men being able to talk about mental health issues. We need to normalize men being able to show emotions. To be able to be their best, to be able to beat their best. We got to normalize allowing them to speak up. You want him to communicate, and then when he speaks up, you don't like what he says. You can't have it both ways. We got to normalize men going to therapy. We have to normalize men not being okay. It's okay to not be okay, but it's not okay to stay that way. And it's not okay to be shunned for not being okay. We have to normalize men asking for help. And here's the thing. A lot of times, us as men are anti everything that I just told you. Because now when we are operating in those areas and those lanes, when we are vulnerable, we get shunned for it. When we are vulnerable, we get talked bad about it. When we are vulnerable, now your woman makes a sly remark because of it. And so here's what happens. Now you want to run from it. I need you to hear me. It's not what people say about you or to you. It's what you answer to. You got to know who you are. And you'll never know who you are until you know whose you are. Normalize self-care. Normalize valuing you. Normalize loving yourself. Normalize doing what it takes to be the best godly man that you can possibly be. Normalize focusing what it is that I need to do to be my best. And to be my best, I need to find out what I need to do to get a win every day spiritually. What do I need to do to get a win every day physically? What do I need to do to get a win every day mentally? What do I need to do to get a win every day in my emotional health? What do I need to do to get a win every single day in my particular relationships? If you're able to itemize those five, you had a successful day no matter what else happened in the midst of your day. Every day may not be perfect, but every day does have purpose. Come on, family, type purpose. A job is what you're paid for, but your calling and your purpose is what you're made for. And I believe the best is coming out of you despite the worst that you've been through. Yeah, he saw the best in you when everyone else around you could only see the worst. The best is coming out of you despite the worst that you've been through, despite that worst divorce, despite that worst mistreatment, despite that worst childhood development, despite that worst heartbreak, despite that worst heartache, despite that worst diagnosis, despite that worst situation that happened to where you had to lose your job, despite that worst phone call that you ever received, despite the worst thing that happened to you to where your loved one passed, despite all the situations that mounted up against you to where it seemed as if you were just in your valley. But hear me, God is bringing victory out of your valley. God is giving you victory in the valley. Simply because you're a visionary. Family, just type vision. Type vision. I want you to sow into this word that you've heard. This is a good place to sow. This is a good time to sow. I want you to sow where you grow. I want you to sow where you soar. I want you to sow into the best season of your life that's getting ready to happen. Yeah, the best man, the best woman. I want you to sow into the best relationship of your life that you're getting ready to step into. I want you to sow into the best marriage that you've been believing for, that God's getting ready to open the door. I want you to sow into this best opportunity that's getting ready to bring unity. I want you to sow into this next best idea that's going to bring greater income. I want you to sow into this best idea that's going to bring increase. God is getting ready to release the increase in your life. Come on, sow into it. Name your seed as you're sowing your seed. You can do this. We've been having a super conversation. Drop a super chat. Drop a super sticker. Yeah. Drop a super chat and a super sticker in the midst of the super conversation. You can give electronically via Cash App, $Access Identity, PayPal, Zelle, EddieConnorJr at Gmail. It's not as a debt that you owe, it is a seed that you sow. Yes, it is. The link is in the chat. The links are in the chat. The links are in the description of this video for where you can sow. And as you're sowing your seed, I want you to name your seed. Maybe you're naming your seed the best. Maybe you're naming your seed the blessed. Yeah, not only are you just the best man, you are the blessed man. I want to speak over your life. Not only are you the best woman, you are the blessed woman. The blessed is yet to come. I don't know who that's. I don't know who I'm talking to, but I hope it's you. And I speak it over your life right now. The blessed is yet to come. The blessed is getting ready to happen for you in your life. Eyes haven't seen, ears haven't heard, neither has it entered to the hearts of men what God has prepared for them that love him. Greater is in store for you. Family, just type "it's happening." It's happening. I want you to sow your seed. And as you're sowing your seed, I want you to name your seed. I want to stand in agreement with you for your seed, for what it is that you're naming it. And I'm believing God's going to do 30, 60, 100-fold, exceedingly abundantly, above all that you can ask or think. Exponential increase is yours for the taking. Thank you for sowing your seed. Via Super Chat, Super Sticker, thank you for sowing your seed via Cash App, $ Access Identity, via PayPal, via Zelle, EddieConnorJr, Gmail. Links are in the chat. Links are in the description of this video. In the midst of me teaching, I realized this. You need the right teacher. I've said it before, I'll say it again. The greatest gift that a teacher can give you is speed. Why? Because they can boil down in decades what they've learned and given to you in days. And here's what I want to do. I want to teach you how to get better at speaking, at communicating, at coaching, at training, at developing your ideas, at building your blueprint, at mastering your message in the marketplace. In order to do that, you need the right tribe. I want to show you how to tap into your spiritual gifts. You need the right tribe, though. Your vibe attracts your tribe. As I was talking today, iron sharpens iron. You're an iron man. You're an iron woman. But some of our connections are plastic people. If you have people in your circle who don't support you, you don't have a circle, you have a cage. Some of us couldn't even share this content that I'm sharing right now with 2, 3, 4, 5 people because they don't have the same type of mindset that you have. They will talk about people, they will talk about things, but big thinkers talk about ideas. You need to get into a room of people with expansive ideas. You need to get into an ironclad community, like the Equals community, where we increase your ideas, your impact, and your influence. You have a marketplace mandate for greater ministry that is on your life. Let me show you how to maximize that. It's your time to make an investment in yourself. You owe it to you to do this. You do. And you need the right teacher in order to manifest it. You need the right type of accountability partners. You need to be in the right room. You need to be in the right tribe that brings about the right transformation. This is only for the serious, not the curious. I know a place. I know a teacher. I know a community. The Eagles community is that community. It is that place. I am that teacher. Let me be your teacher. I want to boldly say, I want to be your teacher. I want to introduce you to our Eagles community, team, and tribe. Because you don't just soar as far as your dream. You soar as far as your team. Go right now. Join our team. Be a part of it. TheEaglesAcademy.com. TheEaglesAcademy.com. When you get there, tap the Join Now button. Fill out the form. And I guarantee you're going to be transformed. Come on. I can't wait to see your face in our digital space. If you're not a member of our YouTube channel family, go ahead and do so. Be a part of Connor's Corner content. Got a lot of content that I got in there for you and more that is coming in store for you. Unlock VIP, royalty, OQP. These are certain tiers. These are certain levels and badges that you can unlock. That's why it's so colorful in our community. That's why it's so colorful in this chat. Tap the join button and get exclusive access to all of the members only content. Family, was this an impactful word message for you today? Let me know. For sure. Family in the Mix is out of time. But trust me, I'm not out of truth. And so I want to thank you for rocking with me. I want to thank you for riding with me. I want to thank you for rolling with me. Why? Because that's just how we roll. And we do that. We roll together each and every single day, Monday through Friday, every weekday for In the Mix. Right here on the headquarters of YouTube. So you're here on the YouTube side. I need you to make sure that you like, comment, share, and subscribe. Even if you're on the social sites of other places where this is broadcasting, join us on the YouTube side. Like, comment, share, subscribe. Hit the thumbs up button on this video, family. Come on, hit the thumbs up button. Yes. This helps me to grow my channel. I'm growing your greatness. Help me to grow my channel. You can also do that by hitting the subscribe button as well. Follow me on all the social sites at EddieConnorJr, EddieConnorJr. Y'all keep showing love. And you know I'm going to keep showing up. If I can help you, if I can serve you in any way, don't hesitate to please reach out to me. If you're looking for a dynamic speaker, look no further. I'm the man for the job. Invite me to speak at your church, your conference, your community center, your college, your school, your graduation, your session. Let's make some progression. Invite me, and I would be honored to empower you. You say, well, where do I invite you at? Email me, info@EddieConnor.com. Yeah, info@EddieConnor.com is yours truly, Dr. Eddie, your main man, 100 grand, your brother. And I mean that from another mother. Family has been fun, but you know, brother, gotta run. But I want you to know it's been a privilege and a pleasure, a treat and a treasure, a joy beyond measure. But I want you, yes, you, to remember to keep the faith and believe it's going to be bigger, better, brighter, peace, and a whole lot of love. Keep soaring higher. So what's your ETA? Your destiny is waiting for you to launch into your next dimension. You know, I realize one of the greatest gifts that a teacher can give you is speed. What do I mean? They can take what they've learned in decades and give it to you in days, moments, and months, and give it to you and instruct you in minutes. This is exactly what I do in my Eagles community. I want you to go to the eaglesacademy.com right now to get access to my private mentorship group where I coach, teach, train, mentor you to transform your thinking by increasing your ideas, your impact, and your influence. You need to know that you were created to soar into more and become more. I want to be your coach. I want to be your tour guide to help you to navigate the landscape of your potential and take you to a place within yourself that you can't go by yourself. It's your time to move into new realms of abundance, to reimagine, reshape, rethink your life, and influence your future through your spiritual gifts, development of your purpose, the emotional intelligence, relational intelligence, business acumen, to maximize your marketplace mandate, and so much more. And our Eagles community is where we learn, we lead, we laugh, and we love on a greater level. I want you to aspire higher with us. Get your wings to win, and let's soar into more at the eaglesacademy.com. Can't wait to see your face in our digital space.